welcome to my train room. So I did do a layout tour update video, whatever you want to call it, back in November of 23, right before the 25 Days of Christmas series then. And the layout has changed quite a bit since that point, so I thought it was time to do another video. The whole layout is roughly 14 by 10. It is a U shape. I do have the two bridges here. I have the two yard tracks over there. And I did build a tunnel this year, actually I guess last year, and add a lot of dynamic to the layout, as well as we did finally make the jump. I never thought I was going to be able to do it, and I finally figured out how to kind of squeeze it into the layout and do the things I wanted to do and kind of give up on some other things that I thought I wanted. But I do have 072 outer and 063 on the inside loop. It does work perfectly fine on both loops to run my fixed pilots and KDs and everything, so no issues there. And the layout is Gargraves track, raw switches, and I have an MTH Z4000, and it is command controlled, so I have a WTIU now, and I do have the base 3. I do want to do a compare video on those two because they are a lot different, and I don't mind the app at all for MTH, but the Cab 3 app is meh at best, so I want to do a comparison video on that, and I think a lot of people have a lot of bad taste in their mouth on the WTIU, so I want to clear a lot of that up. But today we're talking about the train room, the trains, and the layout. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a little bit of a closer look. So obviously everybody knows I'm pretty big into the modern NS, and this is, I guess, what you could call the NS shelf. We have my 4 heritage units, the C40-9 that I custom built, one of my ES44s, the 911 SD60E, followed with the OLS-9, the Jeep 38s behind that Dash 8, and my other little kit bash project I got going on is behind this SD78s. And obviously we got to have my boy Country Bunkers trains playing by in the background. Now on to the rolling stock shelf, just some of the rolling stock. We do have my brass daylight up here on the top shelf with the 5 of the 8 MTH passenger cars that go with it. Some of my rolling stock, I think I need some more Atlas bulkheads. I don't know about y'all, but I think I need more. They'll also buy some Berwicks. Luckily, not all these Berwicks are mine. They are Tom's. Some of them are Tom's. But I was getting them on the shelves to fill spots for the new Berwicks that are coming in. Some of the Trinity hoppers and some of my CSX hoppers. I do have more of those family line ones. And I do plan to in the future to patch them over for CSX. But again, I wish I had more shelves where I could show off more of these trains, but that's neither here nor there. Now over here on this side of the layout, we have some more shelvings down here. This is the, if you couldn't tell, the CSX shelf. We've got the ES44 with the wide cab Dash 8, the pair of 70 Max, the AC6000 from when I was a kid, the narrow nose Dash 8. Look at there, some more NS infiltrating. Got a Big Mac hiding back there, one of the Southern Fs from my ABA set, and then my GG1. The NS engines are filling up a spot for the CSX engines that are going to be running here in a little bit. Now over here back to the shelf side, we have the steam engines. We got 3750 K4, 1361 with the 060 hiding there behind it, the 520 Mikado with the recently acquired brass N6, the Decapod, and then last but not least, the sole Lionel engine of the collection, the Santa Fe 210-4, that kind of ties in with the Pennsylvania from that time that they were leased. So there's one steam engine that I hope to add in the near future, but for now, that's all the steam in the collection. Then up here is the colorful shelf. All the Chessie and the BNSF, the pair of Jeep 30s, the golden Jeep 9, the SD40-2 with the U30C, SD35, and then the BNSF ES44 and SD70 Mac with the caboose. That the BNSF was stuff from my grandfather along with the golden Chessie, so I thought the Chessie stuff and that deserved a high shelf. And then the part everybody likes to see, the boxes. We have my guitar I had from when I was a kid in here, and then all of that blue box greatness. Followed up with, obviously, the purple. Comment down below what you don't see. Obviously, you can tell I'm a fan of Atlas. One of the things I added here this year is this toolbox. It's super helpful for organizing all the KDs, extra trucks. I do use Lionel trucks sometimes because they are pretty affordable, and once you take the couplers off, they work pretty good. But got all my KDs in here, extra pilots, handrails, all the screws and everything. I need to get the KDs back into this thing, but makes life super easy to have that. And then the little cabinet was something a neighbor gave me that's really nice to have just for storing scenery parts and things like that. And then over here, you might have saw, was the gun cabinet that my great-grandfather had made. So I have it in here, just putting away some knickknacks and some things like that. And then I do have a framed picture of the AC 6000 that I got when I was a kid. That was really cool to see at a train show, and the guy actually signed it. Some of my Legos, and some more knickknacks. That photo of 4501 my dad actually took. The staff badges from the Streamliner event. The staff plaque from the Heritage event. Some more models. Some airplane models. NASCAR, and then 2 of the engineering sample models that I got from MTH. So just little knick-knack stuff here. One other little thing I just wanted to comment or mention, because people talk about it sometimes in the video, is the golf clubs. These are not golf clubs that I use. This was the very first set that my grandfather gave me when I was a kid. I loved the red bag and the pink zings or red dots. So they all kind of tied it together, and they were the very first set that he gave me. So I keep them in here as a little memento. And then golf balls here. It was my first birdie, and just some named golf balls. And then for you, Zach, we got Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola. Now to the part I'm sure everybody actually wants to talk about is the layout and some of the updates there. So let's start with this mountain. So I actually had a lot of fun putting this together. Those are Weaver telephone poles, old K-line tunnel portals, and I actually made those retaining walls myself and some trees over here. And we kind of pan around. Not super happy with the mountain face, but whatever, it kind of works for now. This building was actually scratch built by a friend of my grandfather's, and he had passed it on to me, and I thought it looked great here. And we got the guy in the back here trying to work on his old Ford pickup. Obviously for Tom, you know, Fords always need to have their hoods up and worked on. And pan around a little bit more. There's some spots I'd need to fill in, but I think it works fine. Got some more trees. When you come around here to the other tunnel portal, and you exit out onto the bridges. Now, the one thing I did not consider when I started doing this was the saying of "you can't have enough trees" holds true. I can't tell how many times I've bought a bag of trees, and it seems like they just disappear. Now, one of the things I really wanted to do was incorporate a grain facility. A place that I go and see trains regularly in Charlotte is right at the Graham Junction and Diamond with the CSX, and there is a ADM facility there. So I thought it would be cool to have a green tower of my own. So I got to keep working on this, but it's a work in progress, but I think it's pretty sweet. Now for the town, it needs to be revamped. I got to finish up the roads and some things like that. The local advertising agency is looking for some people to advertise on the billboard. But I have a couple MTH buildings and a building that my grandparents had done for my dad and ended up on my layout. And the brewery here, which I need to finish up a little bit more. But I think it's kind of cool to have the old Coors Woodside Reefer there at the Coors Brewery. One of these days I'll get everything lit back up and finish backdrops and things like that and do some more scenery, but it works for now. One of the more funny scenes on the layout is this little scene with the guy taking the pictures. I know he has a very interesting stance, but that's the only O-scale guy with a camera that I could find, so we're going to try and do what we can with it. But I do own a 2008 FJ Cruiser. Personally, it's my little spare vehicle, fun vehicle. And as you can see, there is, if it'll focus, there's a little knuckle there. Now, 3-Rail Tom is the only one that's going to get the reference. But believe it or not, there's a knuckle in the FJ from a train, so that's why it's there. But I just thought it would kind of tie in a little bit to me and going to see some trains and doing some rail fanning and seeing Norfolk Southern while driving my FJ. So that's a brief overview of my layout. I know I made the joke about the orange boxes. All the orange boxes are hidden under here. I don't want the orange and the blue to mingle, if you know what I mean. And then all the engine boxes are underneath the layout over here where I can get them and kind of have a little storage thing set up down here with some lights. I can go underneath there and get what boxes I might need out or such. But I think the layout's coming along. all right. I mean, I know it's not a super permanent layout, so I don't want to get too crazy with it. The tunnel is just one of those things that I've always wanted, so I finally just went ahead and did it, and I'm glad I did because I think it's kind of cool, gives a little bit more dynamic to the layout. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching that. If there's any specific questions you've got about the layout, just let me know in the comments. I'll try my best to answer it. Like I said, it is 14 by 10. It is a U shape. I have the tunnel, I have the 2 bridges, and the town, the grain silo facility, and it is Gargraves with raw switches. I do have ballast in most areas. I got some areas I need to finish up some track work and then lay the ballast down. And it is powered by a Z4000. Each paddle does 1 loop, and then I have an old post-war ZW that does the sidings, and then eventually we'll do all the accessories. And it does have a WTIU and a cab 3. So, or base 3, sorry. Got cab 3 up on the brain because it's so stressful. But, you know, that's just it. I'm obviously, as you can tell, very big into Atlas and MTH. Those are just kind of what I run. So, like I said, if you got any questions, just post them down below. And we'll go ahead and run some trains around this layout to close it out. And we'll see y'all on the next episode of TJ's Model Trains.